Welcome back, everyone. We hope you're enjoying the Voxel board creation series, and we understand that part of the challenge oftentimes resides in simply understanding the Voxel language. Draconious has made a concentrated effort in referring to conversations he's had with Miguel Cepero, as well as including terminology outlined by Dave Jurgensen, to ensure that the community can work together in developing a more comprehensive terminology foundation. In this video, Draconious is describing as well as illustrating the significance of defining the proper terms.
So we're over here at my other demonstration here about the voxel grid, and what we're going to look at here, I have a standard reactor here. I'm just going to highlight the reaction zone is all in red there, with a couple of pink cube shapes attached to the bottom right corner of this reactor. And what we've done is blown up this reactor to show you this blown up into the grid. So envision this reactor here is now blown up. It's about 10 times its size. And what we're going to first concentrate on is this bottom left corner red cube shape in the reactor to describe some stuff here. So when we're looking at this, the green corners, those corner points, you can see them here. There's 4 of them that are facing you right now. Those are the center points of the voxels, and we'll talk about that in a second. The red lines that join between the two voxels, those are the vectors. So when we talk about roaming vectors, we're talking about roaming that line out to another voxel location, which would be a neighboring one over here, say over on the pink one. If we want to roam it over to that voxel location, we could. And if we look at the center one that's filled in here, what this entire side of the cube shape is called a pane. Now, what I've done here with those extra pink cube shapes on the edge of the reactor was to demonstrate how the voxel grid intersects with the visual grid. Visual grid is what we see. The voxel grid is what we don't see. Now, another thing to realize with the voxel grid is this green grid here cannot be changed. It's always in that shape. It's always in those cube shaped locations. Those center points never really do, or the corner points never move, the right corner points. Only the centers of the voxels move. And the centers are the corners of our visual shapes. Now what's important to understand here too is one of these green cubes, that is the area that bounds its center point. So its center point can't go outside of that cube shape. Now you're asking, what about roaming? Well, roaming, what it does is it actually doesn't allow that center point to go outside of the zone. What it does is actually leave that there and allows the roaming vector line to go past that and go join to the neighboring voxel. So that center voxel is still sitting there carrying data, but the visual gets stretched out to the neighboring voxel center, which will be in the next zone right beside it here, inside the pink cubes, if we're talking from that direction in. And then its center then will be controlling it. So if we were to change anything about these pink cubes around it, it would affect it, because all those pink cubes, if you see, have a similarity in its one corner. That one voxel there that's demonstrated is controlling that corner for all those 4 cubes, those pink cubes. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about some voxel theory. I just wanted to go over some stuff. This is just going to be a separate little video we're doing for this to talk about some boundaries of our voxel, like our standard area and then our roaming area. Now, what I did here was I placed a green voxel up in the air. And then when we're looking at this, we can stretch it out. And we've been doing that through our board lessons. And basically, I'm going to place how far we can stretch it up just straight up. We're going off the one pane that's right above it. And we can go up, and that would be the limitations to how far we can stretch the standard voxel up. And that boundary is very important to understand, because after that boundary, if you want to stretch any higher, you would have to go and use a roaming, which I'll illustrate in a second here. Now, this red cube shape on top represents the voxel, the roaming voxel area that we can stretch now up into since roaming vectors was introduced. And now that is the boundary that we'd be looking at moving the corner within. So if we're stretching straight up on that standard voxel, this is the highest we can go with the roaming vector. And if you've noticed, the zones are exactly the same shape, because all of the cube shape is very important, because that is the shape of the actual voxel grid that is behind, which we'll talk about in a bit. So by looking at this, what I did was make somewhat of a cutaway of the zone coming away from the center of our voxel, or our cube shape. The green represents the three-dimensional area of where the standard voxel can go, and the red represents the roaming. What I'm going to do is put up my paste selection to show the 3x3 reactor zone, which is our reactor within this model. And you can see how the red comes outside the paste selection by 0.5. So it comes out halfway outside the reaction zone. And that's the limitation of where we can bring a roaming reactor, or roaming voxel.
We hope this demonstration helps to reiterate and or clarify some of the voxel nomenclature. Draconious is continuing to research this newly introduced technology so that as we continue these lessons, we can provide you with the most accurate representation of the technology. We'd enjoy hearing from you, the community, with your questions so that in our continuing research, we can bring these points up with the respected individuals who are working in this technology. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you found this video helpful and entertaining, please consider leaving a like, and be sure you're subscribed for future Landmark news.